What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with as you can see, the first truck thought of the season. Generally speaking, if I'm doing one of these, that means I ain't been able to stop thinking about an aspect of the team, of the game that just transpired, or something. And I got to get these thoughts out before my head explodes. Obviously, what I'm talking about is the game last night. Now, before I get too ranty with the situation, let's go ahead and lay out some parameters. I get it. Thursday night, so therefore it's a short turnaround. On the road, which generally does not favor the road team. And horrible rainy conditions. I get it. I get all that. All that makes sense to me. I wasn't expecting a pretty game. Most Thursday night games aren't pretty. But what I was expecting was a little bit more competency. A little bit more competency out of this team than what we got last night. What we got last night was arguably a crap show. It was one of the most disorganized looking games that we've had all season. Even in the drubbing by the Bengals, you at least looked like you were trying to execute your game plan. Last night, I had no clue what we were trying to execute. And that's on offense or defense. I say that because you played this team 2 weeks ago. Right? So this is the second time in 3 games that you've played this team. It's a divisional opponent. You should not be surprised by anything that they could throw at you. Especially when they are throwing out backup level roster. Especially on the offensive side. I'll give them Derek Brooks, J.C. Horn, and Brian Burns on the other side. But the offense that they rolled out was P.J. Walker, D.J. Moore, and D'Onta Foreman. This was the same thing that you saw 2 weeks ago. And once again, you let D'Onta Foreman run for 130 yards and a touchdown. I knew that I was on to something when I picked up Foreman and had him on my fantasy team. Man, the irritation on that knows no bound to me. Like, the Carolina Panthers executed the game plan that they had to execute. Rainy conditions, run the ball. They knew what we were going to do. The league itself has finally caught up to what we're doing. The past 2 games, you've scored less than 20 points. And we're not even getting into the fact that last week, outside of Justin Herbert, you were pretty much playing backups. And you still couldn't get it done. So that's 2 weeks in a row that you couldn't get it done on offense. You got Mariota out here for the first time really all season since the Saints game, throwing the ball 30 times. And some of those throws, 2 or 3 of those throws in a row, he was drifting right, like scrambling to his right, and then stops and throws back across his body to the left. You don't do that. You don't do that as a veteran quarterback. You know better. The only quarterbacks who do things like that are rookies and broken quarterbacks. You don't roll one way and throw back across your body like that, especially 2, 3 throws in a row. The inevitable finally happened and they picked it off. And then we're not even going to talk about the throwing the ball away as you're like tripping over yourself all by yourself out there in the field. Hey man, awesome. You got Drake London another touchdown. That was a nice throw. But how are you consistently overthrowing a 6'6" tight end? Consistently. I'm not trying to make this just about Mariota, because I know that everybody's piling on right now. That was a total team failure yesterday. From the coaching staff all the way down. I put out a long tweet talking about Terry Fontenot made him want to start looking for another head coach. And everybody's like, oh, JR, it's way too early for that. And yes, you're right. In that aspect, I'm being a little over dramatic. But that's the way I feel this morning. That might be hot takey, it might be whatever, but that's definitely the way I feel. You knew what you were going into. And that was the best game plan that you could execute. Baffling to me. Absolutely baffling. You spend 2 games where you only attempt 14 passes each game. And on a rainy day, on a short week, on a divisional opponent, on the road, you're asking your very limited quarterback to throw 30 times. Why now? You barely even used Cordell Patterson. Again, I get it, short week, just coming off an injury. But if there was ever a week to pound the crap out of the ball, this was it. You had 30 passing attempts to 20 or 21 run attempts. Your defense couldn't keep anybody or couldn't stop anybody because they are on the field the whole time. Because you could not string a drive together. I'll tell you this, folks. If we go into the Bears game with Mariota as our starter, you might as well quit calling for Ridder this year. Because they've predetermined that they ain't going to start him. Because you can't convince me that after this game, and you got 10 days to prepare for Chicago, that this ain't the perfect time to start Ridder. And don't give me this crap below where you're still in contention of the NFC South. You cannot sit here and honestly tell me that what you saw last night was our best chance to win. If that's our best chance to win, then we're done. We're done. Hang it up, and let's try to get a decent draft pick, and let's really rebuild this offensive line and defensive line. You got Grady Jarrett on one side. Taquan Graham's looking okay. Ebiketie, I think, is going to be fine, going forward. But you ain't got much of nothing on the defensive line, and you're down to your third string left guard because you don't put 2 on IR. And I promise, if I see Dahlman low snapping, you're already putting Mariota in an unadvantageous situation. And now you're making him scrape the ball off the deck every snap. It's not helping. You're supposed to be a center. Center's job is to snap the ball. Snap the daggum ball. It's not difficult. You got a Bears team coming in, or up next, that looks like they're finally finding their groove on offense. So you better find yours. Because if you lose to the Bears and to the Steelers, you might as well give it up. I'm done ranting. I'm done raving. I appreciate y'all following us. You can follow me on Twitter as long as it's still up and going. I'm at Grim1128. Keep your eye on the channel. Well, me and Toby will be live again on Tuesday. This is what we got for you for the Friday show. We're both going to be out of pocket on the weekend, so here you go. But anyway, appreciate y'all. And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.